Welcome to Easier Than It Looks, where I learn you a thing really quick. Alright, so today we got collisions. Alright, so I made this little quick scene just to showcase the different body types for the collisions. As you can see, we have the player, which would be a character body. The static body, which is just this cheeseburger thing. Then a rigid body, which is this wine bottle. And if we play, we see the wine bottle, it falls because a rigid body would be affected by the physics engine, but should only really be moved with code in the physics engine. Then the character body can move basically just a souped up rigid body. Character body is, it's in the name, it's good for characters and stuff like that. Then the static body is just entirely static. It can't be moved. It shouldn't be moved in the code. It does have a cousin, the animatable body 2D, I believe, which can be moved in the code, but still, there's not much of a point to using. Rigid bodies are usually for like physics simulations and like movable objects you would want to move. I don't have it set up for this. It just is affected by gravity. Static body is good for like walls or something like that. And then character body is designed for anything you want to like move that you can control, like bullets or characters, that sort of thing. Now say you want to make your own physics body. What do? You go in here, you type in, anything you want to search, whether it be body or the specific kind. Let's go with a character body, just for example here. For this, you would need to make the actual label, and then what I like to do, I just like to throw a sprite on there, just so I have something to visualize. And then what you're going to need to do next, if you look at this little warning, you're going to need to add a shape, so like a collision shape or a collision polygon. To do that, it's just easy as either choosing collision shape or polygon. So a collision shape, you can choose a shape up here, like world boundary, segment, raycast, all that. I'm just gonna choose a square for this. When you run it, it will be affected by physics stuff. Like you can use code to change however you want to do it. Now say you don't want to use just a standard shape, you need something a bit more complex. What you do, you use a collision polygon. Now these are slightly different. You can make, polygons with them, and then that would be the collision shape you have to deal with. So say we make this polygon roughly the same shape as this dude here. And I'm just gonna move this down. Just gonna move it down to make it a little bit easier on me. It's also affected, so that's more for if you want to make like a character fitting polygons or like a custom terrain. It's just easier to use like that. Now in the last episode I showed you how you could use a character body, for example. In physics, you would need a physics process function. And then you can use velocity, that sort of thing. And you could check if it's on the floor, if it's on a ceiling. And then you can change its speed and velocity. But to make everything move, you'd need move and slide. So if I just got rid of that, nothing. I'm pressing buttons and nothing's going to happen. You're going to need move and slide. Now I'm going to cover areas which are basically interlinked with collisions. You'll see what I mean. Here you go. I've just made a little example here. If something with an area goes inside of here, it would just reload the scene. So I got this right here. But to be able to trigger it, you would need to have an area enter. Now these are considered bodies, so they wouldn't affect it. Like, let me show you. I go over here, nothing happens. Scene doesn't reload, nothing. But as soon as I put an area on the player, then, whenever I go in there, it'll restart the scene. Now this could be done with any of the bodies or any of the areas. You can do just about anything with areas and collision shapes. Now, say you want to get specific with the areas. A decent little way to just quickly piece it together is just add an if statement, then area dot name equals, and then you put in the name of the area. So for example, we're going to use player area here, player area 2D. Now this will only be affected if the player goes into it. So if this has an area, rigid body, yep, there we go, professional here. We give this an area, we give the area a shape. Let's just also make it a circle real quick. I forgot my colon. There we go. Nothing will happen because this isn't the player body 2D, it's just a regular area 2D. But as soon as I go in there, it restarts it because this has the area 2D, the player area 2D name. Different bodies do different things. Static body does nothing. Rigid body is affected by physics. Character bodies are affected by whatever you want. And then animatable bodies are like static bodies, but you can move them with code too. So one last thing, we're going to go about collision layers. Collision layers are pretty easy. You just find them over here in this collision tab, and we got layers. Now, these are easy, but they look complicated. The layer is the actual layer the object is on, and then the mask is the layer that the object interacts with. And that is my very simple overview of collisions and areas and masks and all of that. The best way to go about it is honestly just look at the documentation, look at random settings, and just play around with it to find out what everything does exactly 100%. But that is all from me. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for other videos like this. I'm done here.